Hey guys, hope you're all doing well. Now for today's video, I wanted to talk about something from the original Jurassic Park. In this video, I wanted to open up a discussion on the original islands from the first movie that seem to be all but forgotten. So canon in the Jurassic Park franchise has gone through a lot over the last 2 decades. Several tiny retcons have changed what we originally saw go down in the first movie, and even so-called expanded material like Trespasser or the 2011 Telltale game haven't always been super reliable. The introduction of Isla Sorna in The Lost World alone radically altered what we knew to be true in Steven Spielberg's first movie. So these sorts of changes to the timeline have honestly come to be expected at this point. However, some details from the original movie are literally blink and you miss it moments that have never been further elaborated on in future stories. And probably the most interesting of such details happens to come from Ray Arnold's computer screen right when that fateful tropical storm hits. Now in truth, I saw some fans talking about this recently, but their conversation didn't really go anywhere, and a lot of people seemed to be confused on what they were seeing. So I figured I'd make a video on the subject and open up a dialogue between more people in the fandom to see what others thought about the subject. Now, if you go back to the original Jurassic Park and watch the scene where Robert Muldoon says he'll keep an eye on the storm, you can see Mr. Arnold's computer screen show a whole bunch of information. And one of the things that he has pulled up on that screen happens to be a layout of Isla Nublar with a label highlighted as Island 1. Now, with Isla Nublar being labeled as Island 1 on this screen, it begs to question what the other labels happen to be, which include Islands 2, 3, 4, and 5, as well as the USA and San Francisco as their own separate labels. Keep in mind, this is all information that's being shown on a control room computer in the first Jurassic Park, which means that this really has nothing to do with anything that was shown off in any of the sequels. One of the things that I heard people speculating on when it came to this screen was that the other islands could represent the 5 deaths, or Las Cinco Muertes as they're officially called. They even had a little section that said San Francisco, which some believed to be where the second film, The Lost World, ends, which would make a lot of sense for the casual viewer who may be uninitiated.
But we are initiated.
Now, of course, if you've been following these movies closely, you'd know that San Francisco is not where The Lost World's ending was set, and that it was actually taking place in San Diego, where the old amphitheater Hammond originally set up in the 80s was being kept. Most of you also more than likely know that this can't be Las Cinco Muertes, since Isla Nublar isn't a part of that island chain. It's actually a completely separate island closer to the coast. But hey, that still leaves the question unanswered, doesn't it? When it comes to the original Jurassic Park movie, what are these other 4 islands that we've never really heard elaborated on? And what does InGen have in San Francisco that would be so vital to having a label for its placement on an Isla Nublar control room monitor? Well, in truth, there isn't really any official answer as of right now. None of the sequels ever really bring the screen up, and the extended lore that they actually do add to the franchise is completely different to what we see here. One thing that I've heard speculated on is that the other island labels could just be other viewpoints for which Nublar could be shown. So they'd all actually just be one island, Isla Nublar, instead of a separate 5. But even if this happens to be the legitimate case, that still doesn't explain what InGen has going on in San Francisco, now does it? One really fun idea that I think could lead to some really cool stuff down the line is the idea that these other islands are where the other Jurassic Parks were set. We see Hammond preparing for them in the lunch scene, with the likes of Jurassic Park Europe among other locations being listed in the background. So could they actually be what's on Ray Arnold's computer screen here? Well, maybe. But I must stress that at this given moment in time, there is absolutely no evidence to support such an idea. In fact, that's why I wanted to present all this stuff to all of you guys. Since we don't have any legit answer as to what this is that we're looking at, I figured you all would find it quite interesting to think about. You see, sometimes there is stuff that happens in the Jurassic Park franchise that's just begging for people to speculate on. Stuff like the rabid fauna change of Isla Sorna, the different maps in Fallen Kingdom, and even the origins of something like the Spinosaurus have led to a lot of fun fan discussion and rumination. I just wanted to add this little piece of history to the pile and see what everyone else thought about its place in canon. So, now that I'm done laying all of that stuff out for you, I want to know what all of you think. What do you personally believe this little piece of Jurassic Park trivia to be? And what do you think it could lead to in the possible future? Whatever your own thoughts and opinions happen to be, I'd love to hear them in the comments down below. Now before I go, I'd like to thank all of my game wardens, as well as all of my InGen executives. I'd also like to thank all of my park workers and InGen hunters as well. Guys, it seriously means the world to me that you all continue to support what I do, and I never want you to ever forget that. Now, I'd like to thank you all for watching today's video, and hope that you all enjoyed the content. If you feel like I deserve it, I'd appreciate the like and hope that you'll consider subscribing if you're interested in hearing from me again. I'll see you all in the next video, guys, and as always, take it easy.